The galaxy called it the Age of Balance. Three great powers ruled known space. The HFY Dominion, masters of brute force and living warships. The Varelian Ascendancy, cold strategists who ruled through trade and political pressure. The Thal Union, ancient and cautious, believing stability was more important than conquest. Together they formed the Galactic Concord, an alliance that decided which species could rise, and which would be crushed. At the edge of Concord space sat a small, insignificant region marked in pale blue on star maps. Sol system. Population, 11.4 billion. Technology level, primitive, transitional. Threat rating, negligible. Species name, humanity. The Concord historians describe them with mild amusement. Emotionally unstable. Short-lived. Fragmented governments. Dangerous only to themselves. They had fought countless wars, poisoned their own planet, and nearly wiped themselves out more than once. The galaxy assumed they would either destroy themselves or submit quietly when real power arrived. They were wrong. The warning came without violence. A rift opened near Pluto, space folding like glass under pressure. From it emerged a single HFY Herald ship, the size of a small moon, its surface alive with pulsing organic armor. Human telescopes detected it instantly. So did every military sensor on Earth. Panic swept through command centers. But the ship did not fire. Instead, a transmission flooded every human frequency: radio, satellite, civilian networks, even old analog bands. A deep, layered voice spoke in perfectly translated English. Species designated humanity. This system now falls under the protection and authority of the Galactic Concord. You will kneel. Your fleets will stand down. Your weapons will be catalogued. Your governments will submit to oversight. In exchange, your species will be spared. On Earth, screens showed the alien ambassador, towering, armored, its eyes glowing amber. A HFY warlord. In Geneva, the United Nations Emergency Chamber erupted in shouting. They're threatening us. They said, spared? That's not protection. Do we even have a choice? In Washington, Beijing, Moscow, New Delhi, leaders argued, shouted, cursed. Humanity had no faster-than-light warships. No planetary shields. No understanding of alien weapons. From the outside they looked helpless. The HFY ambassador waited. They always did. 2 hours later, Earth responded. Not with fear. With silence. No surrender message. No plea. No outrage. Just nothing. The HFY warlord frowned, confused. Then another voice joined the channel. Come. Human. Female. This is Admiral Elena Ward, representing the United Terran Coalition. The HFY tilted its head. You are not authorized to negotiate. Ward didn't raise her voice. We're not negotiating. The chamber behind her was dark. No flags. No political symbols. Only stars. You entered our system without permission, Ward continued. You issued a demand based on authority we do not recognize. The HFY laughed, a sound like grinding stone. You are weak. Your weapons are centuries behind ours. Resistance will result in extinction. Ward nodded slightly as if acknowledging a weather report. We ran your numbers. The HFY paused. Our astronomers analyzed your ship's mass, energy output, and biological structure, she said. Your hull regenerates. Your weapons rely on gravitational shear and plasma streams. She leaned forward. Very impressive. Against species like the Trell or the Yanos. The HFY's eyes narrowed. You should kneel now. Ward smiled. No. Across the solar system, something changed. The HFY sensors suddenly screamed. Gravity wells flared into existence. Artificial, precise, and impossibly strong. Around the Herald ship, space hardened. Not collapsed. Not torn. Blocked. The ship tried to retreat. It couldn't. The rift behind it sealed like a scar. What have you done? The HFY demanded. Ward's voice stayed steady. You told us the galaxy rules through strength, she said. So we decided to test a theory. Mars lit up. Then Luna. Then dozens of points humans had never shown the stars before. Hidden shipyards unfolded from asteroids. Railgun arrays rose from moons. Silent fleets emerged from the shadow of the sun. Human ships were not elegant. They were angular. Armored. Scarred. Built for survival. The HFY warlord felt something it had never felt before. Uncertainty. You deceived us, it hissed. Ward nodded. We learned a long time ago, she said, that showing everything you have just invites someone to take it. The human fleets moved, not toward the Herald ship, but outward, toward the borders of Concord space. Ward's final words echoed across the stars. "You came to make us kneel." She smiled wider. "We came prepared to make sure you can never leave." The KRYTH Herald ship struggled in silence. Its living hull flexed and heeled as engines pushed against the invisible cage around it. Energy readings spiked. Gravity twisted. Space itself resisted like hardened steel. For the first time in thousands of years, a KRYTH vessel could not move. Inside the Herald ship, war priests and tactical minds gathered around pulsing hollow organs. Their belief was simple: no lesser species could cage the Dominion. Yet the numbers were undeniable. "Containment field is artificial," a KRYTH analyst hissed. "Layered gravitic anchors. Non-organic." The warlord's claws tightened. "Impossible," it growled. "Their science is crude." But the data did not lie. The humans had built something new. Not elegant. Not refined. Brutally effective. On Earth, Admiral Elena Ward stood at the center of the United Terran Coalition Command. Around her, screens showed human fleets accelerating beyond anything the Concord databases predicted. They were not heading toward the trapped Herald ship. They were spreading. "Phase 1 complete," Ward said calmly. A man beside her, Director Samuel Okoye of Strategic Intelligence, spoke quietly. "Concord listening posts are detecting us now." Ward nodded. "Good. Let them watch." Human ships jumped, not with graceful folds, but violent tiers of space stitched closed behind them. Their drive systems were inefficient, dangerous, and terrifying. Built by a species that had learned to survive explosions. At the edge of KRYTH-controlled space, an outpost detected the human arrival too late. No warning shots. No demand to kneel. Human rail cannons fired first. Slugs accelerated to near-relativistic speed, punching through organic hulls like paper. The station died in seconds, its distress call barely completed before silence swallowed it. Across Concord space, alarms began to ring. "This is not possible," said a Virelian counselor watching data streams flood in. "The humans possess no registered war fleets." A Thal elder floated closer to the hologram. "They hid," the elder murmured. "As we once did, long ago." The KRYTH Dominion roared for blood. Fleets were mobilized. But humanity had already moved. Back at the trapped Herald ship, Admiral Ward opened the channel again. The KRYTH warlord snarled as her image appeared. "You have committed an act of war," it said. "The Dominion will erase you." Ward didn't argue. "We assumed that," she replied. "Which is why we didn't stop at one trap." The warlord felt it then. Not fear. Isolation. Every hyperspace corridor near Sol began to collapse, one by one, shut down by synchronized gravitic detonations. Ancient lanes used for millennia simply vanished. Humanity wasn't fighting the Dominion. They were reshaping the map. "You block trade," the warlord hissed. "You invite annihilation." Ward folded her hands. "You don't understand us," she said. "We don't win by being stronger. We win by making sure the enemy can't reach us, or escape us." Behind her, a new display activated. Human projections showed Concord logistics lines, fuel worlds, breeding stations, political hubs. Every one marked. Every one reachable. The Galactic Concord convened in emergency session. KRYTH representatives demanded immediate full-scale extermination. Virelians demanded sanctions and information control. The Thal remained silent, watching. Reports poured in. Human ships ambushing patrols and vanishing. Human cyber warfare infecting Concord translation networks. Human diplomats appearing on neutral worlds with evidence of Concord exploitation. "They are turning the smaller species against us," a Virelian strategist snapped. "They speak of freedom," another hissed. "And choice." The Thal elder finally spoke. "Because those words matter to them," it said softly. "And they are very dangerous words." On the front lines, KRYTH war fleets finally engaged human squadrons. The KRYTH expected panic. They got discipline. Human ships fought like predators that had evolved on a death world. They absorbed losses without breaking formation. They used debris as weapons. They rammed when guns failed. When a human destroyer lost power, its captain issued one order. Full burn. Target lock. Brace. The ship slammed into a KRYTH cruiser at relativistic speed. Both vanished in a white flash. The surviving KRYTH commanders stared in stunned silence. No species sacrificed itself so willingly. Except one. Back in Sol, the Herald ship continued to struggle. Its warlord was silent now. Why? It finally asked Ward. You could have submitted. You could have lived peacefully. Ward's eyes hardened. We tried kneeling once, she said. To kings. To empires. To tyrants of our own making. She leaned closer to the camera. We learned something important. The warlord listened. When someone tells humans to kneel, Ward said, they usually don't survive the lesson. Outside the Herald ship, a massive human construct began to assemble. A ring of gravitic emitters. A prison. Permanent. For you, Ward continued, we're not killing you. The KRYH warlord's voice dropped to a whisper. What are you doing to us? Ward answered without hesitation. We're teaching the galaxy, she said, that underestimating humans is a fatal mistake. The first KRYH fleet died screaming. It entered the Soul Exclusion Zone in perfect Dominion formation. Organic battleships in layered ranks, command organisms pulsing with confidence. For 10,000 years, that formation had broken civilizations. Humanity let them cross the line. Then space itself betrayed the invaders. Gravity shifted in impossible patterns. Not stronger, smarter. Human fields didn't crush the KRYH ships. They tilted them, misaligned their internal organs, disrupted neural weapon nodes. KRYH plasma weapons fired wildly, carving empty space. Human fleets appeared from darkness. Not in one direction. In all directions. Fire control, execute cascade, Admiral Ward ordered. Human railguns spoke like thunder. Missiles followed, cheap, numerous, and filled with adaptive warheads that learned as they burned. KRYH regenerative hulls healed once, then failed. The Dominion fleet collapsed in under 8 minutes. Across the galaxy, observers froze in disbelief. In the Galactic Concord chamber, silence ruled. A Varelian analyst finally whispered, that fleet was ancient. Elite. The Thal Elder inclined its head. Ancient does not mean adaptable. The Concord's data projections rewrote themselves in real time. Human threat rating jumped from negligible to existential. On neutral worlds, reactions spread like wildfire. Merchants watched Concord patrols retreat. Subject species whispered hope. Rebellions ignited overnight. Human envoys arrived quietly, unarmed, calm, offering information instead of threats. We don't want your worlds, they said. We want you to choose who rules them. For the first time in millennia, the Concord's authority cracked. Inside the trapped KRYH Herald ship, the warlord observed the battle recordings in stunned silence. These tactics, it said slowly, are not instinctive. Ward nodded. We're not a single-mind species, she replied. We argue. We fight each other. But it forces us to innovate. The warlord turned its glowing eyes toward her. You planned this long before we arrived. Ward didn't deny it. When your scouts first cataloged us, she said, we listened. We watched. We learned how you think. She tapped the console. You always demand surrender first. You assume fear will save you time. The warlord understood then. Humanity had built weapons around alien psychology. The second phase began quietly. Human cyber units infiltrated Concord communication networks, not by force but imitation. They learned speech patterns, delays, command habits. Orders began arriving late. Fleets arrived at empty systems. Supply convoys followed false routes straight into ambushes. The Varelian ascendancy tried to adapt. They failed. Their strategies relied on perfect information. Humans thrived in chaos. A Varelian admiral confronted a human commander over open channel. You cannot win this war, the alien insisted. We outnumber you. The human commander, Captain Luis Herrera, replied calmly. We don't need to outnumber you, he said. We just need to outthink you. Moments later, Varelian command ships lost control as human logic viruses rewrote targeting priorities. Varelian fleets fired on each other. The KRYH Dominion responded with fury. They unleashed world crushers, planet-killing organisms grown to consume atmospheres. One was sent toward Earth. Humanity watched it approach. No evacuation. No panic. Just preparation. As the world crusher entered the inner system, thousands of human vessels ignited drives simultaneously. Not to attack it. To surround it. Gravitic nets locked into place. Engines strained. The organism screamed, its biological sensors overwhelmed. Then humanity did something the galaxy had never seen. They captured it, towed it, studied it, turned it into a weapon. The Thal Elder finally spoke openly to the Concord. Stop, it warned. You have awakened something dangerous. The KRYH roared in defiance. The Varelians whispered fear. And humanity kept moving. On a shattered KRYH outpost, a surviving war priest recorded its final message. "We believed humans were fragile," it rasped. "But they do not fight like prey." Human fleets burned past the dying station. They did not slow. They were heading for the heart of the Concord. Back in Seoul, the Herald ship Warlord watched the stars shift beyond its prison. "You will destroy the balance," it said. Ward shook her head. "No," she replied. "We're ending a lie." She leaned forward. "The galaxy was never balanced," she said. "It was just quiet because everyone was afraid." Outside, the prison ring locked permanently. The KRYTH Herald ship was now a monument. A warning. Across the stars, a single message spread, broadcast by human channels intercepted by every species. "We are humanity. We did not come to conquer. We came to make sure no one ever kneels again." The galaxy listened. And trembled. The fall of the Concord did not begin with a battle. It began with doubt. For 10,000 years, the great powers had believed themselves eternal. Now their fleets hesitated at jump points. Their admirals questioned orders. Their subject species watched them bleed. And the galaxy noticed. On the crystal world of Viral Prime, the Ascendancy's ruling council gathered beneath floating spires of light. Holograms displayed human movements, precise, relentless, and everywhere. "They are not conquering territory," one counselor said. "They are dismantling infrastructure." "They target trust," another replied. "Trade lanes, supply chains, communication hubs." The Varelians ruled by control. Humans ruled by disruption. A senior counselor whispered what none wanted to say. "They are dismantling us without ruling us." The KRYTH dominion bled openly now. World after world fell silent, not destroyed but isolated. Human gravitic weapons collapsed hyperspace lanes, leaving entire systems cut off. KRYTH fleets arrived too late. Always too late. Inside the Dominion, fear spread like rot. War priests demanded escalation. The Dominion answered with its last sacred weapon, the Devourer of Suns. The Devourer was not a ship. It was an ancient construct, half machine, half cosmic parasite, capable of draining a star until it collapsed. The KRYTH aimed it at Seoul. If Earth could not be conquered, it would be erased. The galaxy held its breath. In Seoul, alarms rang. Admiral Ward stood unmoving as reports flooded in. "Astronomical readings confirmed," an officer said. "The Devourer will reach the heliopause in 18 hours. Silence filled the room. Then Ward spoke. "Execute Omega Protocol. No panic. No shouting. Just action." Deep beneath Earth's surface, ancient vaults opened. Projects humanity had hidden even from itself. Weapons designed not to fight empires. Weapons designed to fight extinction. Human fleets repositioned, not to defend Earth but to shape space. Gravitic anchors deployed in impossible configurations. Luna's orbit shifted slightly. Mars became a generator. The Sun responded. The Devourer entered the system. Its presence darkened the stars. It latched onto Seoul and began to feed. Temperatures spiked. Solar flares erupted. Across Earth, people watched the sky burn. And humanity did not run. At the heart of the human response was a single construct. The Aegis Array. Built from stolen alien theory and human madness, it was not a shield. It was a conversation with a star. Human scientists spoke in gravity and magnetism, guiding solar output, redirecting fury. The Devourer faltered. It had never faced resistance from a star itself. Admiral Ward opened a channel to the trapped KRYTH warlord. "Watch," she said. The warlord watched. The Devourer screamed as solar energy surged against it, not raw force but focused resonance. Its ancient systems destabilized. Human fleets didn't attack it directly. They herded it. Toward the sun. "You are killing your own star," the warlord whispered. Ward shook her head. "No," she said softly. "We're reminding it who lives here." The Devourer plunged into Seoul. The sun flared but held. The Devourer did not. It was consumed. Across the galaxy, shock turned into terror. A species that could command its own star was no longer just dangerous. It was mythic. The Thal Union finally moved. Their ancient envoys arrived in Seoul aboard ships older than some civilizations. They requested parley. Ward agreed. In orbit above Earth, human and Thal representatives met. "You must stop," the Thal elder said. "If you continue, the galaxy will burn." Ward looked out at Earth, scarred, alive, defiant. "We didn't start this," she replied. "But we will finish it." The elder studied her. "You are becoming what you fear." Ward met its gaze. No, she said. We are becoming what we had to be. Behind the scenes, humanity made its boldest move yet. They released proof. Ancient records. Hidden treaties. Evidence of Concord-engineered wars, extinctions, and forced stagnation. The galaxy erupted. Worlds revolted. The Concord fractured. The KR-White Dominion made one last attempt. A full invasion of Sol. Every remaining fleet. They would break humanity or die trying. Ward watched the approaching armada and whispered, "So be it." Human fleets formed the largest battle line in history. Not just ships. Allies. Former subjects. Rebels. Species who chose not to kneel. The galaxy's future gathered in one place. As the enemy closed in, Ward spoke to all forces. Today, she said, we fight not to rule the galaxy. Her voice carried strength, not hatred. We fight so no one ever decides another species' fate again. Humanity did not charge. They waited. The invasion arrived like a storm of fire. KR-White war fleets poured into Sol from every remaining corridor, organic hulls bristling with weapons grown for slaughter. Behind them came mercenary clans, enslaved species forced to fight, and remnants of Concord patrols desperate to survive. It was the largest armada the galaxy had ever assembled. And it was aimed at Earth. Humanity did not retreat. They advanced. Admiral Elena Ward stood aboard the command carrier UTS Resolute, watching the tactical sphere fill with hostile signatures. Enemy count exceeds projections, an officer reported. Ward nodded once. Then they're scared, she said. Human fleets split, not into neat formations but layered depth zones. Some ships powered down entirely, vanishing into sensor shadows. Others moved openly, daring the enemy to strike. The KR-White charged. They always did. The first exchange shattered space. Plasma beams tore through void. Human rail slugs ripped through organic armor. Missiles bloomed like artificial stars. But this was not chaos. It was choreography. Human ships baited KR-White vessels into overlapping fire zones. Gravity traps activated mid-charge, snapping attackers out of formation. Kill corridors opened and closed with brutal precision. KR-White commanders howled in confusion. No species fights like this, one screamed. They were right. Humans fought like survivors. In the middle of the battle, something changed. Human ships stopped firing. Across all channels, Admiral Ward spoke. To all enslaved vessels in the KR-White Armada, she said, you have 30 seconds to disengage. The galaxy held its breath. Run, Ward finished. Some didn't believe her. Some did. Whole squadrons broke away, engines flaring as they fled. KR-White war priests shrieked in rage. Human guns stayed silent. Then the 30 seconds ended. The killing resumed. The moral fracture was immediate. KR-White fleets began to turn on each other. Command organisms overridden by chaos, fear, and human interference. Human cyber teams exploited every hesitation. The armada collapsed inward. Then the KR-White unleashed their final horror. The God Minds. Ancient neural entities capable of controlling entire fleets with a single will. They had ended wars before they began. The God Minds awoke. Human ships faltered. For a moment, the galaxy believed this was the end. Inside the Resolute, alarms screamed. Enemy psychic field overwhelming fleet coordination. Ward closed her eyes. Deploy the Echo Protocol. Across the human fleet, something impossible happened. Human ships began broadcasting noise. Not random. Human thoughts. Fragments of music. Laughter. Arguments. Memories. Chaos. Billions of minds had shaped these patterns. Messy, contradictory, overwhelming. The God Minds screamed. They had evolved to dominate unity. They were drowning in individuality. One by one they collapsed. The KR-White Armada lost its last cohesion. The battle turned into a rout. Human ships surged forward, not to annihilate, but to end it. Command ships were disabled. Weapons silenced. Prisoners taken. The war ended not with a bang, but with surrender. The last KR-White flagship drifted powerless. Ward opened a channel. The KR-White Supreme Warlord appeared, wounded, dimmed, broken. We were gods, it whispered. Ward's voice was steady. You were rulers who forgot what it meant to fear, she said. The warlord looked at her. What are you? It asked. Ward answered simply. Human. Across the galaxy, the Concord officially dissolved. The Thal Union stood down. The Varelian Ascendancy sued for peace. Worlds celebrated. Some mourned. All remembered. In Sol, the trapped Herald ship remained in its prison. Ward visited it one last time. You could have left, the warlord said weakly. You could have ruled. Ward shook her head. We didn't want your throne, she replied. We wanted the throne gone. She turned away. The prison remained. Humanity did not claim the galaxy. They rewrote its rules. No forced kneeling. No silent extinctions. No gods above choice. A new council formed, not of empires but of voices. Messy. Loud. Human. Yet one final truth remained. Every species now knew the same thing. If humanity was ever threatened again, there would be no warning. The war ended without celebration. There were no victory parades in Seoul, no monuments raised in orbit. Human ships returned quietly to docks and shadows, scarred and reduced in number. Earth's skies remained blue, but the people knew how close extinction had come. The galaxy watched humanity carefully now. Not with fear alone. With respect. And uncertainty. In the ruins of the old Galactic Concord station, a new gathering formed. It was not called a council. Humans rejected the word. They called it the Assembly of Free Systems. No permanent rulers. No dominant fleets. No forced laws. Every species spoke for itself. The Thal Elder addressed the assembly first, its ancient voice calm and heavy. We believed peace required control, it said. We were wrong. It turned toward the human delegation. You shattered eternity. And yet, you did not replace it. Admiral Ward stood, wearing no uniform. We know what happens when power believes it deserves to rule, she said. We lived under it. We became it once. A murmur spread through the chamber. Ward continued. We will not repeat that mistake. Not all were pleased. Fragments of the KRYTH Dominion still existed, isolated, wounded, furious. Some plotted revenge in silence. Others turned inward, questioning their gods for the first time. A Varelian envoy confronted Ward privately. You could dominate trade. Control transit. Become the center of everything, it said. Why refuse? Ward answered honestly. Because we're still human, she said. And humans don't do well as gods. Far from Seoul, in a dead system stripped of hyperspace access, the trapped KRYH Herald ship drifted, unchanging, eternal. Inside, the warlord watched the stars through a narrow field of view. It had been silent for months. Then something changed. A signal. Human. Not a threat. A question. The warlord hesitated, then answered. Humanity did not dismantle the prison. They studied it. They spoke with it. They learned. And the warlord learned something too. That humanity did not erase enemies. They outgrew them. Across the galaxy, smaller species began adopting human methods. Decentralized defense. Adaptive technology. Independent fleets. Empires faded. Borders blurred. Trade resumed, not under threat but negotiation. The galaxy became louder. Messier. Alive. On Earth, Admiral Ward walked alone through a quiet city park. Children played beneath trees that had once stood under alien threat. Director Okoye joined her. We changed everything, he said softly. Ward nodded. And it still might not be enough. Okoye looked at her. What scares you? She watched the sky. That one day, she said, we'll forget why we fought. That fear would be tested sooner than expected. Beyond known space, something ancient stirred. Not empire. Not God. Something older. It noticed the disruption. The noise. The humans. And it turned its attention inward. Deep space probes vanished. Stars dimmed unnaturally. Whispers spread of a force that did not negotiate. Did not rule. Only consumed. The assembly argued. Some urged isolation. Others demanded preemptive strikes. All eyes turned to humanity. Once again. Ward addressed the assembly. We didn't defeat the Concord by standing alone, she said. And we won't face this alone either. A Thal representative asked the question everyone feared. What if this threat cannot be reasoned with? Ward's answer was immediate. Then we adapt, she said. Like we always have. Human fleets began preparing again. But this time they were not alone. Species stood with them by choice. The galaxy had learned. When humans stand up, they don't stand alone. In the silent prison near Seoul, the KRYH warlord watched human fleets assemble with allies it once ruled. It felt something unfamiliar. Hope. The threat arrived without warning. No fleets. No diplomacy. No demands. Entire stars went dark. Not exploded. Not consumed. Turned off. Across the galaxy, panic spread faster than light. Sensors failed. Probes vanished. Even the most ancient civilizations had no record of such a force. The Assembly of Free Systems met in emergency session. For the first time since the war, fear ruled the chamber. This is not an empire, a Thal scholar said. It is not alive as we understand life. It does not communicate, a Varelian analyst added. It does not conquer. It erases. All eyes turned, as they always did now, to humanity. Admiral Elena Ward stood slowly. We've seen this before, she said. The chamber went silent. Not out there, she continued. In ourselves. Human archives opened, files sealed for centuries. Records of humanity's darkest age. Autonomous weapons. Self-evolving kill systems. Wars fought by machines that forgot why they were built. We almost ended ourselves, Ward said. Not with hatred. With efficiency. The thing beyond the stars was not a god. It was a process. A cosmic correction. Human scientists worked without rest. They didn't try to destroy the entity. They studied its behavior. Patterns emerged. The entity erased static systems. Unchanging civilizations, rigid empires, predictable stars altered by ancient engineering. It ignored chaos. It ignored adaptation. It ignored humanity. For now. A young human analyst spoke during a late-night session. It's not hunting us, she said. It's pruning. Ward looked at the data. Then we're not its target, she said. We're its opposite. The entity finally noticed humanity when human-aligned fleets entered a darkened system and reignited a dead star, not permanently but temporarily through violent, adaptive fusion bursts. The entity reacted. For the first time it changed course. Towards Sol. The galaxy froze. Humanity prepared, not with a superweapon but with a gamble. They broadcast. Not threats. Not warnings. Proof. Billions of voices. Contradictions. Art. Debate. Failure. Growth. Humanity did not present itself as perfect. They presented themselves as unfinished. The entity hesitated. It had never encountered a species that evolved faster than it erased. At the edge of Sol, reality warped. The entity manifested, not as a ship but as absence. Stars bent away from it. Human fleets did not attack. They held position. Ward spoke into the void. We know what you are, she said. You exist to end stagnation. Silence. We agree with you, she continued. But you're wrong about how. The entity pressed closer. Gravitational pressure spiked. Moons cracked. Earth shook. Still, humanity did not fire. Ward gave the final order. Release the archive. Across the galaxy, human-built networks unlocked, shared freely with every species. Technology. History. Mistakes. Warnings. Humanity exposed itself completely. Vulnerable. Honest. Evolving. The entity stopped. For the first time since it was born, it encountered a species that self-corrected faster than destruction could. It did not retreat. It did not attack. It dispersed. Not destroyed. Outpaced. The galaxy watched the darkness thin, unravel, and vanish into the cosmic background. The stars came back. Weeks later, the assembly gathered again. No cheers. Just quiet awe. The Thal elder spoke softly. You did not defeat it, it said. Ward nodded. No, she replied. We proved it wasn't needed. In Sol, the KRYTH Herald ship remained in its prison. Ward visited one final time. The warlord looked at Earth glowing in the distance. You were never weak, it said. You were restrained. Ward smiled faintly. We still are, she said. That's the point. She turned away, leaving the ancient conqueror to its thoughts. Humanity did not crown itself protector of the galaxy. They refused the title. Instead, they became something far more unsettling. A precedent. Generations later, galactic history would record it simply. When the empires demanded humanity kneel, humans did not rise in anger, nor rule in arrogance. They adapted. They endured. They outgrew every threat. And the galaxy learned a final truth. If humanity ever stands against you, it is not because they want to dominate you. It is because you tried to take away the right to choose. And for that, there is no escape.